Hi, everyone. So I'm on today with a reading video, and honestly, I am really surprised by the person's energy that I'm picking up on here because this is an energy that we've tapped into before, but I really don't feel like we've been actively tapping into for a while. So I did a few videos back in March about this particular energy, and some of those videos attracted a lot of viewers because it resonated with a whole collective, including one video titled, "They Know More Than You Think They Know." So I rarely reference past videos like that so specifically on this channel, but I really feel that for many of you listening, actually, I'm getting as well. Some of these videos were done in April also. I can't remember if that video I referenced was from March or April, but essentially there were multiple videos done in the spring on this channel between the months of March and April, where we tapped in very, very strongly to this particular thread of energy. And this person was seemingly coming through quite a lot in these videos. But I feel that they almost kind of like went quiet energetically for a while, and I haven't really channeled specifically back into that energy for quite some time now. But they're coming up really strongly in, well, I should say tonight, which is why I'm coming on with tonight's video. Now, I also am making the effort to do daily videos here on the channel. So I really love the idea of tapping in to the energies every single day with you guys here on YouTube. And if you would like to support that, but also tune your energy in more strongly with this collective, which helps me to channel for you more specifically, then I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, join our beautiful community here on YouTube. So there's so much that I want to say about this person. By the way, I have my coffee, just a plain cup of coffee, but it's really comforting because it's rainy outside where I live. So there's something kind of cozy about having a cup of just plain black coffee while I'm doing this reading. So if you hear me sipping in the background, that is probably what that is. But I don't even know where to start when it comes to this person. There is so much that wants to come through, and that's before we even are shuffling and pulling any of the cards. The first thing I will say is there's an element of surprise or shock here. So this reading might only reach a very specific collective, but I feel like you will know if it is for you because maybe you've suddenly been feeling this person's energy again out of nowhere and it's really surprised you. I keep hearing something about sending out some kind of signal or dropping some kind of hint, meaning I feel like this person recently sent you a signal or dropped you a hint, or I'm hearing dropped you a line. Maybe they actually did try to call you or text you, or maybe they liked one of your posts if you're connected on social media, or maybe they dropped some kind of other hint. I'm hearing a hint that they're still connected. I feel like this person made some kind of signal or sign to you, basically to let you know subtly or maybe not so subtly that they still feel a connection to you. But I'm hearing that sign was only really meant for you and them, meaning other people wouldn't even really notice it, but you heard it or felt it loud and clear. And that was their intention, because they're trying to not catch the attention of other people with this sign. This may be someone who's in the public eye or has some public facing persona of some kind. That doesn't have to be the case. But I'm also getting that there may be other factors at play here. So for example, this could be someone who is in a relationship or who has some kind of third-party romantic energy around them, or someone else that they're connected to. I'm hearing out of necessity. So for some of them, they may be in a relationship or a connection romantically because it's some kind of like partnership of necessity in this world. For some reason, I heard like a door creaking open through my mind's eye. So it's almost like this person is like keeping the door just slightly ajar between the two of you in this connection. They've never fully shut the door on their end, but I'm also getting that they've been very, very silent. I am picking up that in most cases, this is someone who went totally radio silent on you in the physical. I feel like they completely, I'm hearing dropped contact with you, but they still keep an outlet or avenue open through which they can keep tabs on you or observe you or still know what you're up to. So like, for example, this would be someone who maybe would completely ghost you, like stop texting you, calling you, but they would not block you on social media or unfollow you because they still want to actually keep tabs on you or know what's going on in your world. Otherwise, they would have just completely unfollowed you. So it's kind of confusing because while they really dropped contact, they also didn't go all the way with that block. They didn't completely cut you out energetically, spiritually, or even in a literal sense, because they're still keeping some kind of open line of communication here with you. And they've used that open line recently to drop you some kind of hint. I feel that when you received this hint or signal, it could have been a dream about this person. It could have been, again, maybe they liked one of your pictures or contacted you, or they posted something that had a very clear, like, I'm not even talking a subtle hint. Like for you, it wasn't subtle. It was loud and clear because it was meant to be obvious for you, is what I'm getting from this person and situation. And this is probably making you feel like you're kind of going crazy because this is most likely someone who you had been trying to just kind of forget about or just accept had no feelings for you or just like move on from, but they're not completely shutting the door on their end. And that is leading to, it's almost like I get the sense that when you saw whatever this was, like whether they contacted you or dropped you a hint, your first reaction was probably something like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening. I can't believe that they dropped me this hint, or that, like, it's just like, it probably literally stopped you in your tracks. Like it just shocked you. Like, I can't believe they texted me, or I can't believe they liked whatever that is, or that they did that. Like, I can't believe they did that. That's kind of like the feeling that I'm getting on your end. But there's another layer of complication here, and this may not relate to everyone because this feels like that part of the reading where we get very specific. But there's a group here. Those of you who know that this person is dealing with another person romantically, whether it's someone that they're casually dating, in a relationship with, married to, whatever the case is, this adds another layer of complication because what is going on here is this is a connection of necessity. I'm hearing also, my guides are calling it like a tether, like it tethers them to a particular timeline. And that might sound restrictive from your perspective because you are most likely someone who likes to be untethered, who likes to be unrestricted, who likes to travel between timelines at will without feeling bound to a particular timeline. But for someone who is not really accustomed to timeline traveling like that, to moving between dimensions like that, having a tether to a particular timeline could actually feel like stability. It could feel grounding for them, like very stabilizing, especially when other areas of their life may feel uncertain or volatile. And I feel that if this person has a third-party romantic person in their life, it's a bond of necessity that keeps them tethered to a particular timeline in a way that causes them to stabilize, that makes them feel safe. I feel that they did have the option or the opportunity back when the two of you first connected to potentially cut that tether and allow themselves to be free and untethered. And like, honestly, if they had chosen that route, it would have been very chaotic for them. But ultimately, they would have very quickly begun to align with their highest timeline. But they had to be the one to make that choice. And they chose stability. Whoever this is, initially, they had that choice, and I did a lot of readings where we channeled into their energy, and I'm speaking to a portion of the collective who resonated with some of those past readings, but then ultimately, this person, at least for the time being, has chosen to remain tethered to their particular timeline, or they've chosen the stability that they get from whatever that tether is for them. And yet they haven't been able to shut the door on you fully. And so as a result of that, I feel even though it's been like weeks, months, for some of you, maybe even years, this person still feels like present in the back of your mind, present in your energy, no matter how much you try to set boundaries with this energy or kind of block them out of your life. It's something that you feel through the silence. It's always there in the back of your head, which again, most likely makes you feel as though you're going crazy, but you're not. You're feeling this person's energy in the back of your mind, even as you're trying to move on, even as you're trying to distract yourself, trying not to fixate on them, because they never let you go on their end, at least not completely, not on the spiritual and emotional levels required to really close the door or really cut the cord. Now, let's add a little bit of further nuance to this situation, because another message that I received around this as a download just a few minutes before I was recording, because I felt this energy come in like a wave, and it felt like something very almost like rattling, like startling, something that brings out emotion within you, because it's like, whoa, like, how are you still here? That's like the energy I'm getting. It's like you realizing that you're still somehow connected to this person and thinking, how are you still here? How is your energy still here? What is going on here? That's kind of like the download that came through. But to add more nuance to this, you've activated this person in a way, a very powerful way, by the way, and they have been trying to take that activation and displace it onto a karmic person or partner or situation in their life, onto some kind of third-party romantic person, if that is relevant in their life. But of course, if that is for you, you already know in those cases that this person has someone else romantically in some way, or that they're exploring romantic options. If you know that, then know that this person is taking the activation that you gave to them, and it's almost like they're trying to diffuse that energy or like displace it. Now, I know that this sounds a little bit complicated. I'm going to do my best to kind of break down what I'm picking up in this download around this displacement of the activation, because what I'm picking up is that it's almost like they're trying to take this. First of all, you've really activated their sacral chakra energy. I'm hearing you made me feel so alive. You made me feel so seen. You made me feel so in the moment. That's what I'm getting so strongly from this person. You activated this literal like passionate fire within them. If they are an artist or creative type, you turned on that creativity switch. And ever since they met you, they've been just creating or outputting like crazy, either like in their work or in their art, whatever creative outlets or avenues they have, they've been like using you and your memory and your energy as kind of like this muse. But I'm hearing it's a never-ending muse. Like you are this muse that never dies out for them. It's like this continuous muse kind of energy. And so they've been taking your essence, your energy through that door that they're not fully closing. And they've been channeling all of that into their life, into their creations, but not just that. They've been channeling the passion that you activated within them into, or trying to channel it into and displace it into another romantic relationship in their life, if they have someone else romantically. So if there's a romantic third party, it's almost like I hear the romantic third party saying like, whoa, where is all this like sudden passion coming from, or this sudden burst of like love or energy? But it's artificial in a sense, because it's actually the love and the passion and the energy that they're feeling for you, that you activated. And they're taking all of that and then trying to kind of siphon and funnel it into this other person and this other situation to kind of reinvigorate the spark with that particular person. And it's not really working. And that's the next layer of messages. I'm hearing it's a slow fade out. That's what I'm getting from this other situation, because if they are involved with someone else romantically, it feels like that situation is on a decline. It feels like it's slowly fading out, or in some cases, that spark went out a long time ago and they're only like barely keeping it alive by kind of feeding some of this energy and passion they're feeling for you into that other relationship or situation, just trying to keep the spark from just completely dying out. In fact, I'm getting that in some cases, it sounds really strange, but like if they didn't have this passion and energy that came in from the way you activated them, that relationship may have actually ended even like months ago at this point, because it's like your presence in their life reinvigorated their passion for life, their excitement, their sensual energy, their creative energy. So now they're able to take some of that and put it into that other person or relationship. Now, for others of you, but what I should say is, again, it's not really working long term. It might work in the short term, but I'm getting that there are a few issues with them doing this. Issue number one is they can really only sustain that for so long, because it's like, yes, they're kind of barely keeping that spark alive, but over the course of time, it's still kind of slowly fading out on its own, no matter how much external energy they put into it. When it's no longer generating its own organic energy, when there's still not organic spark or passion or chemistry or love happening there, they can only siphon energy from other sources for so long before it fades out regardless. It's kind of like they're pouring into an endless hole, so to speak. And it's just like, it's not going to be able to last, is essentially the image that I'm seeing here. So it's still, I feel like there's a very complicated message coming through, because if there's a third-party romantic person coming through here, which I feel for many of you in this specific collective there is, the complication is so when you met this person, that relationship energetically ended. And I know that sounds really strange, but I know that you felt it as well. Their relationship with that other person, it was over. The contract was over, I should say, energetically. When they met you, you marked the completion of that karmic contract. You took them out of that contract energetically. It's over. That contract is over. That contract has served its purpose. And that is why I feel that connection had been on its last legs for a while, but then you entered their life and that really marked the end. Well, there's so much I could say here. Now that we're channeling into this, so much is coming through, but basically it's like this person had felt a numbness and emptiness in that connection for a while, but they'd always been telling themselves prior to meeting you, well, maybe it just feels that way because that's what happens in every relationship. Maybe we're just past the honeymoon phase and this is normal. And maybe it's just something I need to work through. Maybe this is a problem with me internally. Maybe no one can really make me feel that happy or that fulfilled. But the problem is they met you and you put a face and a name to that feeling of emptiness and that feeling of longing that they'd been having within themselves. That feeling of what if there is something more out there, but then they would kind of quash that idea. Like they would just shove it down and say, no, that's just crazy talk. It must just be me, or every relationship ends up this way eventually. But you came and basically gave them this concrete evidence. You gave them concrete evidence. You put a face and a name to that feeling of numbness and emptiness that they had with this other romantic person. And so once they met you, something clicked into place in their brain. That karmic contract ended. They realized I wasn't just feeling numb or empty because that's how I am or how relationships are. I was feeling it because that relationship had already kind of run its course. And there actually is something more and something different available to me. And they felt a taste of that through their connection with you, although it may have been very brief. And so that's what I mean when I say that their romantic relationship with that person was technically over when they met you. Now, the thing is, even though the contract is over and I feel like that spark is really gone in essence, and by the way, the other person in this situation has very much sensed the change. They've sensed that ever since this person met you around that time, their connection with them has been really different. I see this person being so it's like they have this far away look in their eye when they're around this third party romantic person. Like they're just detached, they're disconnected because they recognize on some level that the energy of that contract with that person has already completed itself, that it's already served its purpose. But it's almost like they're not willing to fully accept that. And the reason is they don't want to sacrifice their sense of stability. They feel like they need this person in a like material sense, or they need this connection for a sense of community. I feel like there's a shared community or friend group or something of that nature, like built up around this connection. I also feel like you represented like the mystery and the unknown, and you never come with any guarantees because it's contrary to your spirit. Your spirit says, essentially, it emanates this energy of follow me down the rabbit hole if you will, but I don't bring any certainties. I don't bring any guarantees. And so in order to fully pursue anything with you, or even like have a hope of pursuing something with you, not a certainty, but just like a chance, they would have had to completely untether themselves from the timeline they were on. They would have had to detach themselves from the connection that brought them so much stability and allow themselves to just launch out into unknown, uncharted waters with you and see where it led, see where it took them. But they weren't willing to do that. They didn't want to embrace that uncertainty. And really, that is free will. That's their choice to make. But the consequences of that are they are now in this connection that they are keeping alive and trying to just barely sustain through siphoning off some of the energy that you've activated within them, which again is why they will not close this door with you entirely. But at the same time, that connection is on its way out ultimately anyway. I'm also hearing something about like them really trying to put on a show of being even more in love with that romantic person or even more close with them. They might post even more pictures together or like say a lot publicly about each other or like to be seen out in public together even more. But it's almost like they're trying to prove a point, not just to other people, but to themselves internally, because there is this shared awareness between them that something has changed, that this karmic contract between them has ended. But I do feel like it's kind of continued on physically long beyond its energetic expiration date. And again, you've played, not that you've consciously played a role in sustaining it, but your energy is being used in part to sustain it. And so what I'm picking up on now is, I don't know, I really feel like there's a reason this is coming up again. Things are coming to a head here because this situation cannot continue indefinitely, meaning something's got to give here. Something is going to give. I really feel that this third-party romantic person, they have been aware for a while that something has changed. And I just keep hearing that, this person we're channeling into is trying to give their like partner or significant other or this third party person the credit for the love and the passion and the activation that they're feeling and experiencing because of you. But I'm also getting that they are going to be limited when it comes to their potential, when it comes to things they're trying to do or manifest in their life. And they have been limited because they haven't yet fully, I'm hearing they haven't fully embraced the muse, which is you. You were meant to lead them out into the unknown, but they were too afraid to go with you in the beginning. And that's why I feel this brought up so much grief and disappointment, because I feel like as the months and, well, the weeks and the months went by since you first connected with this person, because you're very intuitive and have this sense of parallel timelines, like alternate realities, and what is happening in those alternate realities and timelines at this same moment, like in some other dimension in the quantum realm, you've had this sense the last several months of like times going by, like memories that were never made between the two of you going by. Like, I don't even know how to put the words to this, because I feel that when you met this person, you so clearly saw a potential timeline. And again, I feel like for some of you, you may have met or connected with this person back in like last winter or the spring or something, because I feel like you built a timeline with this person energetically, even without words. This may have never been discussed, but I feel like there was a timeline pre-paved between you that you never lived, that you never actually played out. But it's like kind of excruciating in a way how you could feel that timeline every day that passed, like every month, every like milestone. I feel like especially over holidays, like maybe your birthday or their birthday or like different holidays, it's like you could feel the timeline where the two of you were celebrating that holiday together, or where the two of you were like going on a trip together, or like a date, or connecting in certain ways, or doing things together. You could literally feel that timeline with every cell of your being, because in some other dimension, it has been playing itself out, but it couldn't play itself out in this reality because this person refused to choose it. They didn't want the uncertainty of embracing the muse in this case referring to you, embracing the unknown, launching out into this different version of themselves that would be so free and limitless and unrestricted, but also so uncertain. And in doing so, in not making that choice, in choosing to just try and re-enter this old timeline, which again has never really felt right to them. I have to say, I feel like in many cases, this person may even be struggling emotionally and mentally, like with dissociation, just feeling like disconnected, detached from their reality. I'm hearing it doesn't feel real. It's almost like their reality doesn't feel real to them because their soul chose that alternate timeline that the two of you never lived out, but they physically chose to stay here in this timeline. So they kind of like fragmented themselves. And so I feel that like they've been feeling it too, even if they've been suppressing it, even if they've not been fully admitting that to themselves. And so there's been this sense of detachment in this current reality. I also feel that they have this sense as though they're stagnating, like in their career, maybe their business, their finances, their creative work, whatever it is that they're trying to do or manifest in this life, because I do feel like they are a soul who also, like you, came here with a very big vision and a very big mission and purpose. And again, you were meant to activate that purpose within them by helping them to cut the ties to this past timeline and helping them to embrace the unknown, overcome those fears and uncertainties, and move into this more expanded version of themselves. But what I'm getting is that when they didn't choose that, it's even limiting their potential for their soul to fully express here on earth, at least at this time, because I feel like it's preventing them from being able to reach those next successes and those next milestones because they essentially are creating from the wrong reality. That's the best way I can describe it. Their creations or the things they do, the choices they make, the progress they try to make, it always seems to fall flat, or it seems to just keep them stagnant right now. And that is because they are creating from the wrong reality, from the wrong frequency, essentially. And I keep seeing this timeline where like the two of you very much have this almost like power couple energy. I almost feel like you were meant to partner in something. I'm not even talking just romantically, although that may be an element of it for many of you. But I feel like you were meant to like, and maybe still are meant to like create something together, whether it's like a project or something artistic, or like I keep seeing you together collaborating in some way, like on some other timeline. And I feel like you keep getting flashes of this as well. And you probably got flashes and glimpses into that timeline, even from when you first met this person. And they did too, by the way, because everything I'm picking up on here feels very mutual, even if they do a lot of work to try and keep those mutual feelings and thoughts suppressed. But what's happening is you aren't actually creating or doing whatever that thing is together. In fact, I feel that you kind of were pushed off to like need to do it on your own when they were meant to come with you. Like I feel this deep sadness within you at times, which makes sense because you are now, I mean, it's very brave and very powerful that you are continuing to carry the torch in a way. Like you are carrying the fire. You are continuing to move forward with the mission, even if you're doing it on your own. But I feel like it creates complicating emotions within you because this person was meant to come with you, or they could have chosen to come with you. And that's a very real alternate timeline that exists. In fact, I feel like the chances of them choosing that other timeline in the past were like 30 to 50%. So it wasn't necessarily likely, but it was a very good chance that they would choose that timeline. That was a very strong futuristic potential. But I feel like their fear really got the best of them in the past. But again, they have not been able to fully let go of you. I just keep hearing the muse. Like that's how they think of you, like this eternal muse. You activated a creative part of themselves that no one has ever activated in this way before. And I feel like if this is someone who's an artist or a creative type, whenever they do try to create anything, it's always from your energy or from your memory. It's like they're drawing upon memories of you or conversations with you or the experience of you to create from. But I feel like what's going to happen is eventually, because there's been so little to no contact with you in the physical, they're really going to start craving reconnecting with the muse, being you in the physical, because it's almost like, not that that energy is going to run out, but it's like they keep recycling and reusing these like old memories and conversations and things with you, like trying to pull on that energy to create. But eventually they're going to want to come back to the source, again, being you. They're going to want to reconnect with you for like fresh inspiration and muse and activation. Like they're going to really miss that feeling of soul activating inspiration that they had exclusively and only around you. And as time goes by, they're also beginning to realize just how rare that experience really was. I'm also hearing the words, someone witnessed it. Now, I know this reading's getting kind of long. Clearly, this person had so much to say, at least on a soul level, even though they may be very silent in the physical. But the last thing I want to say on this is someone witnessed this, and I don't know who this was. I'm hearing it's a neutral third-party observer. So this could be like a friend, a family member. I feel like it's someone who's connected to this person. So it's most likely one of their friends or like a sibling or a family member or something like that. This is someone who's a neutral third-party observer, meaning they're not necessarily invested in whether this person chooses to stay in this karmic relationship or whether they choose to let go of that and try to pursue you. They're not really invested in either outcome. They simply seem to want what's best for this person, but they're neutral as to what that looks like. But they witnessed a change that took place in this person that they've never seen before, besides when they were around you. And I'm hearing there's a role that this witness is playing now at this point, because they are still thinking about what they saw. They're still thinking about the fact that this person lit up in your presence and seemed more like animated and alive in themselves around you than they've ever seen this person behave around anyone else. And I feel like they've given that a lot of thought. And I feel like they're now also drawing a very strong contrast between what they witnessed between the two of you and what they're now seeing as this person tries to kind of push themselves back fully into this third-party karmic relationship or connection. And I hear the word comment. So I feel like this person has recently made some kind of comment. This third-party kind of witness, this neutral observer, made some kind of comment to your person saying like, well, I'm trying to channel through exactly what they were saying. I feel like they tried to play it off as, not any kind of judgmental comment, just like an observation that they kind of left with this person, but it was meant to nudge them. Yeah, and it was meant to basically tell them like, hey, with man holding a coin and door to personal happiness and healing coming up here, I feel like this was them saying like, wow, do you remember that person that you met or connected with, or when you were around them? Do you remember like how that made you feel? Or like, you just seemed so different around them. Like, I've never really seen you like that. I feel like this person said something recently to them, or like dropped something subtly in a conversation along those lines. Or they may have asked like, hey, have you heard from that person recently? Or do you know what's going on in their life? Or yeah, there's just something along those lines. They dropped some kind of hint or comment, and it was received by your person. They definitely got the hint, and they recognized that what this observer was basically saying was, wow, you seemed really happy and really inspired and lit up by this person. Maybe you should reconnect with them. And I do feel like that has stuck with them. Like, that little nudge has really been sticking to their energy. It's been staying with them. And that might actually be part of the reason why you are now beginning to feel this person's energy so strongly again, because not only were they already still creating with your energy and using even the memory of you for inspiration, but now they have some other person close to them, like a friend or a family member who saw the two of you together, who is actually commenting on it or kind of dropping this hint or nudging them in that direction. So, I feel like there's so much more here that we could channel into in future reading videos. Do let me know in the comments if you want to hear more on this, because I feel like this is not the last that we will hear from this person or this energy. Also, if you do want to utilize my Break No Contact Subliminal to potentially help you manifest contact either from this person or from someone else in your life or from your past, that Subliminal is available through my Subliminals app, Sound and Soulful. This is definitely one of my most popular Subliminals to date. I have received so many comments from so many different people using it to manifest contact from people in their lives. And I've heard some of the craziest testimonials from this Subliminal, including people who used it to manifest contact from someone who had had them blocked for 2 years, who literally had to unblock them in order to contact them. And they got that result after just listening overnight to this Subliminal in the app one single night. So I have heard some crazy stories like that from people who have seen massive success using this Subliminal and others that I've created. I do have over 130 Subliminals in the app for all areas of life. And when you sign up for a free trial account, you can listen in 10 different background sound options. You can create your own custom private playlists, and you can read the affirmations embedded within each Subliminal while you are listening. So the link to get the app is in the pinned comment and description box under this video if you want to get started today and use my Break No Contact Subliminal to manifest contact from someone in your life or from your past, or if you want to use any of my other Subliminals to manifest anything in your life. I personally use them every single day, and I have been for years now. This is my absolute favorite manifestation tool, and I always see the best and most effective results from Subliminals as opposed to other manifestation techniques. So again, the link to my app is underneath this video. Otherwise, I am sending you all huge amounts of love. Have an amazing day, and I will connect with you again in the next reading.